listening to the Sports Bar Weekender here on talkSPORT with me, Majestic, alongside former West Ham and Chelsea striker Carlton Cole, as we dissect what's going on at Chelsea at the moment. Maresca leaving the club and where they go forward. Of course, off the back of Brennan Johnson joining Crystal Palace for a record fee for Crystal Palace of £35 million. That brings me on to my next question, because it comes in very nicely, Coley, with Maresca. Maresca gone and won the Club World Cup in the summer. You had Big Donald there dancing on stage. I love the Chelsea, they're so great. I love Maresca, he's the greatest manager in the soccer football.
Soccer football.
The soccer football. And 6 months down the line, he's no longer there, right? And then you look at Brennan Johnson, the goal scorer in the Europa League final, probably the worst final of all time, right? And Johnson again, ole, the big scenes at White Hart Lane after the win. Within months, he's sold to Crystal Palace. Now, it begs me the question, is there no credit left in football? And what I mean by that is, you've done that, so you've got a bit of time. We'll give you a bit of time. For example, Brennan Johnson last season, Spurs' top goal scorer. Scored in important games as well, as we mentioned, the Europa. Now, he's sold to Crystal Palace. Mate, I, for one, have always said with Brennan Johnson, I don't think he's like an out-and-out winger in the way we see it nowadays. One-on-ones, he doesn't like it. But one thing Brennan Johnson's great at doing is finding the position at the last part of the play to get to the goal, tap-ins. And that is an art in itself, being in the right place at the right time. I kept saying, I'd like to see him be tried at least as a 9, because I think he could actually be the guy in the box that will get those tap-ins, get in front of players. He arrives at the right times. I think it's going to be a great acquisition for Crystal Palace. I think he's going to do really well in Glasner's system. And I just feel, when you look at Spurs, you got Odegaard and Tell, even Richarlison and people like that. There's a few more players I'd look to sell before Brennan Johnson. And I'm saying that knowing that perhaps moving forward, if Spurs want to be, in the Champions League on a regular basis, then you've got to look towards the Semenyos and Ezes, not necessarily Brennan Johnson, etc. But I feel a little bit sad for Brennan Johnson this evening.
Yeah, listen, Brennan, I thought he was a handy player. I'd love to have him at West Ham. You know what I mean? But
could have been a good buy for West Ham.
Oh yeah, definitely. But he's got if he felt underappreciated, underused, then he's got to go and.
I respect that.
Yeah, and remember, he really thrived under the attacking football of Ange.
Yeah.
So it's a different style of play now, probably different requirements that his new manager wants to employ, and he must not fit in that. I know, we can have all the talk about a bit of loyalty towards him because he scored at this. No, football has to. If that football's like that, then it'll be stagnant. So things move, and football's so fast now.
It's so fast.
So fast. There's no time for loyalty, and if there was loyalty is gone after 5 games. that's the turning wheel that we're on, and because there's so much money in the game now, no one's got no time for messing around and holding on to false hopes.
Yeah,
and the ones that do hold on to false hopes, and the players they're the ones that fall behind.
Yeah, you are right. West Ham suffered with that, I think. There's a few players.
We're quite a loyal club.
Yeah, you are. I think you have
club.
been.
And listen, sometimes some of the players need a rocket up their bum and move and they need to know that their place in the squad is not safe, because then complacency sets in. I'm not saying it's what West Ham are going through right now. I'm just saying in general football, complacency sets in, and when the player is comfortable, they stop running that extra 5% or 10% that might be needed to nick that goal to win that game. So sometimes you always have to keep them on their toes, especially footballers.
Yeah, it might be the start of something new for Spurs, because we are never normally this ruthless and non-sentimental. Like we kept people like Lamela for years, right? Let's go over to Rob as a Spurs fan. He joins us on the Sports Bar Weekend. Good evening, Rob.
Evening, guys. You okay?
How are you, pal?
How are you feeling about the Brennan Johnson one? Because I've got mixed emotions about it.
Yeah, I am as well. There's the football fan in me that always have the sentiment of, him. Let's be fair, he was the one that scored, the goal that ended the trophy drought. And but unfortunately, football's now a business. I think the days where you used to be able to rock up and you had, every season you had a couple of players who were local to the club pulling on the shirt each week. I think they're days of yesterday. You know, I don't think we're going to see that much anymore. And it's unfortunately because it's now a business and it's a global business with the size of the Premier League. I think that you've got to be a lot more ruthless, and you do see the bigger clubs, the top four, the traditional top four, shall we say, they've always shifted players on every after 2-3 seasons.
But that was always Fergie's thing, wasn't it? When when Man United were the top of top, they got rid of Jaap Stam and Ruud van Nistelrooy.
You can't afford to make the players can't get stale. You know what I mean? They've got to be on their toes, and if they are there for a long time, they're the integral part of the team. They're the spine, and you can't get rid of them.
Yeah, no, of course, but and I think that's the one thing Tottenham have been guilty of in the past. I mean, it's the fickle nature, isn't it, of football fans? I think they're very. I say I'm a football fan as well, but I think a lot of fans look at everything from an emotional perspective, not so much the business perspective of it or the logic behind it. And I think Tottenham especially have been very guilty in the past, as you said previously, of holding players maybe a little bit too long, asking for values that are probably unrealistic for what they're truly worth. And I think now there's kind of...
I wake up in cold sweats thinking Brian Hill's still at the club.
Yeah, no, well, everyone's still pinning a little bit of hope on him being the next Messi, aren't they? But
is he still even at Spurs? I don't know.
But,
who did I watch the other day? Your midfielder, the young lad. I think he's over. I can't remember where he was. He might be at Charlton or something like that. But you had a lot of high hopes for him as well. I've forgotten his name now. But you guys do hold on to your youth players for quite a long while too, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think, and again, I mean, it's a shame because we do have a fantastic youth setup. But as you know, Carlton, I mean, that jump from academy football into first team, it's a different. Although it's football, it's a different sport. The pace, the power, the physicality. So although you can get some great players in there that absolutely light up the academy system, I mean, I was talking to someone the other day about this. I think there was something like there was. Someone said like 13,000 academy players at the moment in the English game.
Yeah.
And out of those 13,000, only 417 will make a career in the Premier League down to League 2 and steps 1 to 4.
Mm. And you know what separates? And I don't think any young players are gonna be listening to it right now. But what separates them from the rest? It's not just about the skill. It's not just mentality. It's the mentality.
Yeah.
It's what's between the ears and a little bit of luck as well. Because availability is massive as well. You can't be getting injured all the time. You got to push through. Even when you're not injured, even when you've got a little niggle, you got to push through, mate.
Yeah, and I do think in this country, especially with the amount of money that's spent from Cat 1 down to Cat 3.
Oh, mate, astronomical figures.
And I think a lot of these players, and not all, but a lot of them, I think a lot of them are very spoiled. And so when it comes to, that going getting a little bit tough, especially with the rise of social media, a lot of these players, they get a lot of smoke blown up their backsides by hype men around them.
Oh, mate, they're encouraged.
Doesn't do them any favours.
They're encouraged at 8 years of age to have Instagram pages of their journey. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, in my something people are, Kev's journey, like football. It's like let them play football.
Yeah, listen, I know what you're saying, though, but that's just the belly of the beast, right? That's what we are now. So as a society,
everything's a commodity.
Yeah,
isn't it?
so the clubs have to adapt as well and everything like that. But what I would say, Brennan Johnson was a massive. When he was coming through the ranks, he was unbelievable. He was going to make a career at some stage. He had a footballer dad as well to get his mindset right. So that's an advantage.
Mate, the game I saw him was for Forest against Leicester in the FA Cup. He tore them apart. And I went, who is this kid?
Yeah, quick.
And he was
strong.
And I didn't really see that again from him, that one-on-one. And that's what frustrated me a little bit with him. But I'll leave this with you, Rob, as well. See what you think. There's a message here. They've not left their name. But they said the fact that Brennan Johnson is leaving Spurs before Ben Davies is wild. No natural replacement to give Kudus a rest now, yet still crying out for backup left back, and we have been for years. Needed Johnson off the bench against Brentford. Poor squad management for me. What do you make that, Rob?
Yeah, no, and again, there's parts of that I agree with, and there's others that I don't. As you guys know, in football, people like Ben Davies, is he a starter for Tottenham? No. Is he a player that probably gets into any of the other top 6 teams? No. But at the same time, he's also a player that is great to have around that first team squad, especially for the younger players coming through, especially for newer players coming into the club. He's a club man. He shows that level of professionalism, which is rare in the modern game. And whilst I agree he probably does need to move on, I don't think it's a bad thing that maybe the club have retained him for as long as they have, because...
Yeah, because there's other reasons, isn't there? There's more.
Listen, football's more than just, the best player plays, or there's some players, I was one of them for a while, when I started to slow down a little bit. I was a squad player. I was the one that came in, a new player would come in, they'll say, Coley, look after him. Not saying it was the right thing to do. Give me a new player, I'd show him around. Hey, mate. No, but
that's
just
right,
to settle him in.
Someone different with him every week, a funky Buddha. Who's this week, guys? He's a new one.
Settle him in, Coley. You do the job. No, but there are players out there that do show that professionalism and are good for the squad. And yeah, someone like Davis, he's going to be that player. Definitely. Yeah. And he comes in and he's a good egg. Yeah. A good egg.
But Brennan Johnson, of course, makes his move to Crystal Palace. Will we see him feature in this weekend's games? Right, you're listening to the Sports Bar Weekend on talkSPORT. We'll talkSPORT Bet. Visit talksportbet.com today for the latest sign-up offers. 18 plus, gamblingaware.org. It's Majestic, it's Coley. It's the Sports Bar Weekender.